It's awesome. Let's do this. Hi, I'm Rashid Hill, and I welcome you to the next era of learning. Today, we want to talk about something that I think you all, if you follow, obviously, what I do and the things that I promote, you know that the fourth industrial revolution and emerging technologies are dear to my heart. And therefore, I've created a course that is just for you. So I welcome you to be part of this experience tonight. Tonight, we're going to talk about the next era learning new education series. This new education series is going to give you some insight to what's to come, what's happening, and why is it happening. So I would like to welcome you to the new education series. This is brought to you by Next Era Learning, the online e-academy. We know there are new technologies that are all around us. In order to advance in the society, we need to incorporate a variety of better ways to do business. And a brand of technologies were ushered in during the fourth industrial revolution that will facilitate how this happens. These are called emerging technologies. I want to discuss the emerging technologies with you as they relate to the future of work, the future of education, and the future of learning. I call it new tech, new skills, your power. Now, I'm Rashid Hill, and I thank you for joining me in this quest today. This is the Digital Acceleration course. I call it the New Education Series, Learning 2.0, hosted by myself, Rashid Hill. As we continually hear about, are robots going to take my job? There was a book called The War on Normal People by Andrew Yang. If you followed the recent or last presidential race and some of the candidates, you know that Andrew Yang was one of the candidates. And he talked about his book, or most of the people talked about his book, and that's how they knew him, called The War on Normal People. So that War on Normal People had a lot about automation and robotics, and the fourth industrial revolution was front and center. And if you read that, you would get a better understanding of what we are dealing with and kind of what you see happening all around you that you may not even notice because it's so subtle. When you go into a restaurant or a McDonald's or fast food, you always are presented with the option of going to the kiosk. You don't have to even deal with the person now. Think about that. That's the automation age. You can go to any store and you have a self-checkout. You go to Department of Motor Vehicles, you have an automated way to enter, and you have an automated way to get what you need, and you don't have to deal with the person unless you have a problem. This is the new era that we're talking about. The fourth industrial revolution is here, and it's defined by the confluence and convergence of emerging technologies. This period drives significant adoption of technologies and the new ways of living. Today, I want to talk about what you need to know about the new tech and remote work. They go hand in hand, and you'll see why. We should be interested in finding ways to use data to enhance learning and development, build leadership capacity faster, and drive positive behavior trends at work. The future belongs to the talent where they are and not bringing them to our headquarters. This is something that Rick Jensen with the Intuit Corporation has been quoted on and has been interviewed about. And I listened to a podcast and I heard this and I was like, wow, we are definitely thinking along the same lines. And I wanted to give you this entry into what we're going to talk about today. Remote work, the future of work. This is the future of what we're dealing with in the fourth industrial revolution, ushering in the evolution of our future. So what technology has emerged since the first industrial revolution? Well, let's talk about the first industrial revolution, which was around maybe 1800s. You remember the steam engine? We talk about the most prominent, obviously, is the train, the engine that powered the train. And so steam was the fuel that powered the train. And so that was something revolutionary between 17 and 1800s. So then on to the 1800s, we have the electrical grid, and we have energy-based mass production or mass power. And that mass power is what we call the electrical grids. And so power was generated where it could be in a centralized location, and it could be run to cities, towns that were nearby and beyond. And so that was revolutionary at the time. Then comes the third industrial revolution, and somebody decided that a computer could be created. And yes, it was big as a room, but it was one of those computational machines that had not been invented before. And therefore that became well known, and it started to be used with the machinery and electronics, and it kind of made life easier, which is kind of the idea for technology, is to make humans' life easier. And the internet was evolving and created around the late 1900s and early 2000s. So that's our third industrial revolution. The fourth industrial revolution, which we're in now, ushered in the advent of artificial intelligence, information technology, and all facets of that, blockchain technology, and edge computing, quantum computing, predictive analysis, proactive analytics. Big data is a massive part of the Industrial 4.0 complex, and we have to see that for what it is. And so I want to introduce you to the technologies that we can use and understand more about in order to be prepared for what's here and what's coming. So how will work change in the future? Let's focus on how it would change in the future. What we can expect to see in the future, or what does the future hold, is really the question that we want to ask. We see a variety of advanced technologies that are emerging in various industries every single day. New developments being discussed in technology events across the globe. Events like London Tech Week, AFRICOM or AfriTech, Edge, the Future of Work Forum, Aviv 101 Blockchains, Blockchain Summits, Artificial Intelligence Summits, Microsoft Education Series, the Class of 2030, 5G World, and so many more. It is difficult to keep up with all of them, but with a level of excitement, we will review what we can expect in the future of work, education, and new learning models. This is the rise of Learning 2.0. Okay, we talk about emerging technologies. We talk about the future of work and learning and education and economic mobility. So what are the new developments in this automation age? We know there's blockchain, AI, virtual reality, and all types of robotics. So one that I've seen is called RPA or DPA, which is robotic process automation or digital process automations. This automation is more software-based, and it helps the actual worker and their tasks and more of the repetitive tasks, I would say. And so something like that is not necessarily things you will see changing physically in your office environment, but it will change how things get done. More efficient would really be the term for using RPA. This automation is more software-based, and with repetitive tasks that are done, this bot can do it better, more efficiently, and faster. It frees up time for the employee to do more value-added tasks for the mission of the company. So we know about IoT and we know about 5G. There's new radio, 5G NR. There's non-standalone and standalone. So the difference between those two, just so you know, 5G right now is pretty much riding on 4G LTE or advanced LTE systems. And eventually, in about 2 years' time, they will have enough infrastructure in place that they can actually have a standalone system. And so T-Mobile is heading that up right now compared to the other telecommunication and wireless companies. But that is the the 5G infrastructure that needs to be in place to have a standalone 5G system. Right now, 4G LTE is really the backbone of what we call 5G. So right now, yes, blockchain, AI, robotics, virtual reality, augmented reality, autonomous vehicles. These are things that emerging technologies, that the technology itself is outstanding. And it's something that you want to keep an eye on. So blockchain, a decentralized workforce, is kind of how I want to picture it. Because blockchain in itself, which I'll really get into here shortly, is a decentralized technology. But in this context, decentralized workforce, because our workforce will not necessarily be where the headquarters is, will not necessarily be where the supervisor is, or the manager, or the leadership. It will be decentralized from that location. And so we talk about blockchain. First of all, let's define blockchain, which obviously is one of my favorites in the technology space. A blockchain is a type of digital database, an electronic ledger that keeps a record of different data operations. These records are stored in blocks and then linked together, making what looks like a chain. Therefore, we call it blockchain. Data stored in a blockchain is decentralized. Most of the time, that decentralized data is called distributed ledger technology. This means there is no central point of vulnerability or a single point of failure, I would call it, where it would be compromised. Each block is time-stamped and all of the chain is confirmed anonymously in a record of events that spread across many different nodes. It's then permanently saved inside that distributed ledger. Once data is part of the blockchain, it cannot be altered. It cannot be removed from the records. Sorry about that. So once data is there, we know that it cannot be altered, and that's called immutable. So immutability of the blockchain is one of the key security features that is so attractive as an advanced technology. Department of Defense and big corporations like that feature more than pretty much any other part of why blockchain is so popular and is so secure. Again, one of my favorite emerging technologies is blockchain. The distributed ledger technology is central to securing networks. This can be networks of data, networks of personal property, the supply chain, trustless voting apparatuses, and certainly in financial transactions. Blockchain is well known for giving Bitcoin its rise to digital currency stardom. And then, funny thing that happened, the door swung open to thousands of digital currencies all across the world. As much as I like to talk about this tech, I know we are focused more on the amazing technology that will shift how we approach work, education, and our future. So you can find more information in my Facebook group about blockchain and the advancements of that technology. But this is a great fit for decentralized workforce and the remote work that will become center throughout our lives. So we talk about decentralized workforce. We talk about blockchain, and we want to talk a little bit about the Internet of Things, or IoT, because these kind of work hand in hand as well. And IoT works good with blockchain and it works well with 5G. So what about IoT? This technology is valuable in logistics and enhancing proof of location or proof of origin, what we call provenance. Where does something start and where is it at all the way through until destination? Many systems say it could do that, but they don't. And RF technology, radio frequency technology, has not really sustained the hype that it said it could track something from anywhere on the globe. And so blockchain and IoT comes in, and there's what we call proof of location or proof of origin, and it tells the provenance of the item, so we know exactly where it came from and where it's going to and everything in between. Also, having the ability to connect upwards of 1 million devices in a square kilometer Yes, 1 million in a square kilometer. With the help of blockchain and 5G, this one uses sensor technology to help facial recognition, ID security, smart cities, smart bases, smart ports, and in automation in cars where they can communicate with each other. This is the type of technology that takes the other technologies to a whole new level. So many awesome applications for IoT, AI, 5G, and other industry advancements from emerging technologies work together with IoT as well. We can't talk about emerging technologies without including in the one of the leaders in the field. That would be artificial intelligence. As we all know, artificial intelligence, abbreviated as AI, is normally created in the area of robotics or some type of automation or a machine that responds to programming, right? Many people think that AI or Autobots or automation or robotics will kick humans out and take over the planet. That's great in science fiction movies, but AI is an instrumental part of human development and workforce development. So in many areas, it is more efficient to use a machine, but the machine is powered by human programming. And it will provide space for efficiencies in manufacturing, where you can include AR and VR, or automated or augmented reality and virtual reality, and even helping relieve stress for autistic children with human-like robots like Milo. These small robots look so human-like, and kids love them, and they have been shown to help autistic kids recover and actually have some normal or sense of normalcy in their life. Of course, there are so many numerous applications for AI that we can't go into all of them right now, but we want to at least highlight the fact that AI is definitely at the top of the list when you talk about emerging technologies or advanced technologies. So we will talk a little bit more about AI later on in the course. Okay. So let's talk about 5G. 5G is definitely one of the top emerging technologies, or just technologies that has come into play as of late. It's been in production for years, but now with the spectrum bands and frequencies being released for use by commercial companies that didn't necessarily have access to those until 2020 or late 2019, it has really opened up a world of opportunity for everybody that will reap the benefits of this technology. So 5G, we may remember 3G or 4G and even heard of 5G, but have you heard of 6G? Well, guess what? We're not talking about today. But 6G is being looked at, and there are experiments being done, and there are satellites that actually have been put into orbit to test some theories on what 6G can do. So it is happening as we speak. So did you ever wonder what was meant by 1G or 2G or 3G or even 4G? I bet if I asked anybody within reach, what does the G mean? Many people would probably say, I don't know. and that's okay, because why would you? Or why would you even care? Most people watching don't really care how it works under the hood. We just want it to work. And that's what really matters. But 5G is the 5th generation wireless technology. It comes along with 4G Industrial Revolution, or 4th Industrial Revolution, and it's here to help connect our devices, make our transactions faster, and deliver larger batches of data more effectively across lines or digital lines that we don't see, or some we do see on poles. So in essence, 5G can deliver what 4G or 3G couldn't as far as capacity. And it can do it frictionless or faster. It could do it more efficiently than the previous generations before. What will the results of the fourth industrial revolution be? Well, in short, we will see more remote work, independent contract work, and with this pandemic or COVID-19, there are so many technological advancements that's been made possible through 5G, blockchain, AI, and those particular and similar type technologies. So the benefits are vast. The opportunities are immense. And I welcome you to be part of the Digital Acceleration course. Continue with part 2 and learn more about trends that are shaping the future of work. Thank you. All right. So now that we have an opportunity to follow up, then I look forward to having an additional conversation. I look forward to what we can do in the future. And like I said, we're going to continue the conversation. We're going to go ahead and have an opportunity to discuss more technologies with you in the future. So stay tuned and let's continue our conversation about the trends that are affecting the future of work. Thank you. See you on part 2.